Thank you for joining us today for this session. I'm very excited to announce today the next generation of dedicated region products from Oracle Cloud. Hello, I'm Sanjeev Homchaudhary. I lead product management for the dedicated region products. For the next half hour, I'll walk you through some of the trends that we are seeing in the cloud market. We'll then introduce the dedicated region product and then do a deep dive into its technical aspects. We'll then come back to the surface and look at use cases to see how customers are using dedicated region. And finally, we'll summarize with some pointers to more information. Let's start with the big picture view of the cloud market. For the last 10, 15 years, public cloud has grown tremendously. However, current reports show that more than 70% of enterprise workloads are still residing on-prem at customers' data centers. And there are various reasons for that. There's data gravity, there's regulatory compliances, there's a desire of customers to control over the infrastructure and applications. Due to all of these reasons, a lot of the workloads are still residing on-prem. To corroborate that eye-opening piece of information, we have the IDC's Cloud Prediction Report for 2022, which says that in a few years, by 2025, the number 2 focus area for enterprises is going to be dedicated cloud. Well, we agree, and we believe that it's going to be even earlier than 2025. In fact, today we already have customers who are using dedicated region products in their data centers. When building dedicated region, we started off with a what-if question. What if we could get the best of public cloud experience and marry that with the best of data center experience? What customers told us is they want the full functionality of public cloud. Not part of it, but the full experience of public cloud. They wanted scalability to start small and then grow on demand. And they wanted the economics of public cloud. Today, I'm very excited to announce the next generation of dedicated region product. Let's start with a tour of a data center. And data centers can vary in their sizes. I've been in data centers which are about the size of a Starbucks cafe, to data centers which are the size of Walmart stores or multiple Walmart stores. If you were to enter a data center, you'd see a lot of space out there. And in that space, there are aisles and aisles of equipment, which are servers, storage equipment, networking, connecting all of these together. There is power, cooling, and all of these things going on out there. When we set up a dedicated region for a customer, we bring in the hardware equipment and we manage it and we run it 24/7. I'd like to draw your attention to 4 key highlights. Number 1, we provide the entire public cloud features and services on the dedicated region. That means 100+ infrastructure as a service features, platform as a service features, software as a service features. The whole set of public cloud features will be running on the dedicated region. It's fully managed for you, the same SLA and the same level of security that's in the public cloud. And all of these are going to be available on day 1. The second area is around shared responsibility. There are certain things that Oracle Cloud is going to be responsible for, and then there are certain things that the customer is going to be responsible for. We obviously will provide the equipment and manage it. For space, power, cooling, we depend on the customer's data center location. The third point I'd like to call out is the base configuration of a dedicated region. We start off with a very small base footprint. Over our journey, we have shrunk that to less than 1,000 square feet, which equates to less than 100 square meters. This includes compute, storage, and even our high-end Exadata platforms, same as the public cloud. And in this journey, we will continue to shrink the footprint even more in the future. The fourth area is around flexible expansion options. Every customer has a unique set of requirements depending on their workload. For example, I have a customer who wanted to run AI ML workloads. and we enable them to expand with GPU footprints. Some other customers may want to run highly intensive database applications, and we have database nodes for those kind of deployments. HPC expansions, or just general expansion for general workloads. From the introduction level, now let's do a deeper dive into the technical aspects of dedicated region. First, let's get a few terminologies established. We talk about realms, regions, availability domains, fault domains. What are those? A realm is a boundary of a cloud. It's a unit of a cloud. A customer has a realm. No data is shared between two realms. So that's how you want to look at it. Like it's a contained cloud. A realm may have multiple regions. We can have a region, let's say in the San Francisco Bay Area. Another region, it could be in Portland, Oregon. There is a distance between them for disaster recovery. Those are multiple regions within a customer realm. Availability domain is a physical data center. A region, like San Francisco Bay Area region, may have one or it can have more than one availability domain, which essentially means it can have one or more than one physical data centers. Each physical data center also has high availability constructs built into it. We call that fault domain. In Oracle Cloud, we have a 3-fault domain concept, which means that each workload is distributed across 3 fault domains. In the event of one fault domain having an issue, there are 2 other fault domains within the same data center so that the glitch is not noticeable by the end user. To give you an example of how these different terms map, I have a customer in Asia who has one realm and has got one region, has started off with one region. I have another customer in Europe who has got a realm which is really large, spanning across multiple countries of Europe. And they have got 6 different regions under that realm. Depending on customer requirement, we can choose which is the right topology. Let's dive deeper. I'll go over some of the key areas that our customers always ask us about. Like, what is the high availability plan that you have? What about disaster recovery? What is the security posture that dedicated region has? Compute, storage, networks. We'll dive into some of the technical aspects of each of these areas. When it comes to high availability, think about a service that you have been using which has been running on the cloud, any of the applications that you have been using. At the back end of this application, the physical infrastructure in the cloud, there are racks and racks of equipment out there, and failures do happen by simple laws of physics. Once in a while, a transistor is going to blow out, or a node is going to fail, or a power supply is going to have an issue. That is happening all the time. But the user is not aware of it because cloud architecture has been built in such a way that these transient issues at the back end of the cloud is totally hidden from the user. At Oracle Cloud, we have 3-fault domain concept, which means that every application that a customer writes, that application can be spread across 3 different fault domains. If there is a power supply issue in one of the fault domain and that rack were to go down, not a problem. There are 2 other fault domains which would pick it up. So that kind of high availability design is built into each of our dedicated regions. Disaster recovery takes it to the next level. In the case of high availability, we were looking at certain component level failure. But what if there is an earthquake or a flood or a fire that affects the whole city or the whole region? Well, for that you have 2 different regions, 2 different dedicated regions spread across maybe hundreds of miles, so that if there is a natural disaster happening in one region, there is another region to pick it up, and the customer has a seamless experience. Disaster recovery is typically done in a couple of ways. The customer has a choice of doing active disaster management, which means both the regions are active at the same time and they do load sharing. or it could be in an active passive mode, where one of the regions is the primary and the other one is in a standby mode. Moving from high availability and disaster recovery to another big topic, which is security. Majority of our customers are very security conscious. In fact, one of the reasons they are looking at dedicated region from Oracle is because of the security aspects built into dedicated region. I like to approach security like a layered cake. There are multiple layers of security and controls that we have built into the security portfolio. Let's start at the base of this multi-tier security architecture. At the base tier, there is physical security. What that means is we monitor and authenticate and authorize every person who enters into a dedicated region. There are physical security controls to make sure that bad actors don't get into the dedicated region area. The next layer above physical security is infrastructure security. This is where networking equipment, servers, storage, both physical as well as virtual, they reside. Many of the sophisticated cyber attacks have happened at this layer, or at least starts off at this layer. And that's because this layer is very complicated. And because of the complexities, vulnerabilities or holes open up, and the attackers take advantage of those holes. With dedicated region, we have a host of multi-tenancy features to prevent bad actors from exploiting these holes. If there is a bad actor, that bad actor stays within their own tenancy and doesn't have the ability to get into another user's tenancy. So we have sort of walls around each of the users in their own tenancies. The layer above that is application security. This is where we have web application firewalls, IAM policies, and a host of other security features to provide application level security. Data security comes at the next level. This is arguably the most important asset that a company is trying to protect. Whether the attacker is trying to get a password or the attacker is trying to get confidential trade secrets, they're trying to get into the data level, which is the ultimate point of the attack. With dedicated region, we have controls over data not only at rest, but also data in motion. That takes care of protecting through encryptions any data that might be sitting in a storage or in a server. By being encrypted, if anybody were to get access to it, they would not be able to decipher the data. Data in motion is when one server is talking to another server and it's going by the wires. Attackers sometimes tap into those wires to snoop into the information that's flying. That is also taken care of through encryption technologies in dedicated region, which encrypts traffic that is flying through the wires. Last but not the least, there is compliance, which is sitting at the topmost level. Many of our customers are asking us to provide compliances for their own audits. We offer SOC 1 and 2. We also offer ISO 27001, 27017, and 27018 compliances. For the healthcare industry, we support HIPAA compliances. And for credit card and financial world, we have the PCI DSS compliances. Best part of this is all of these compliances that I just talked about, they are provided free of cost to the customer by dedicated region. Moving from security, now let's look at compute and storage options. We have the full spectrum of compute and storage option that's available in Oracle Cloud. All of those are available in dedicated region. From the smallest compute instance of serverless functions and containers, going into bare metal or GPUs, or even HPC instances. On the storage side, we go from the lowest latency block storage to file storage to the highest scale of object storage. All the services that our customers are used to in the Oracle public cloud area, all of those are available here. Moving into networking. Networking has a special place in dedicated region. If a cloud is in the public space, then there is a lot more control and there are some assumptions on those cloud. Those assumptions don't hold true when the cloud is now brought into the customer's data center. We have to have different kinds of networking circuits to manage and run the cloud, which is now being brought from the public cloud space into the customer's data center. There are 4 types of networking connectivity that are needed for running dedicated region. The first one is a management circuit. A dedicated region is managed and run by Oracle operators. We have a dedicated link for that so that at all times the Oracle operator has access into the dedicated region 24/7 because we are running the whole infrastructure out there. The second circuit is between a dedicated region A and a dedicated region B. This would be like a disaster recovery scenario where there are 2 regions, let's say one in San Francisco, one in Portland, Oregon, and there needs to be a backbone circuit connecting the 2. The third kind of circuit is where the customer may want the dedicated region to connect to their own data centers or a colo facility. That's an optional circuit that the customer may want. And the fourth one is also an optional circuit where the customer may want a dedicated region to be connected to the internet. Not all customers want internet connectivity, so that's an optional circuit that the customer may want to have. Now that we have explored the richness of dedicated regions technical offering, let's come back to the surface and see how customers are using it. Let me share with you 3 dominant use cases that's popping up with dedicated regions. The first one is around data residency, and we see that getting a lot of traction in the public sector around the world. With the current geopolitical environment in Europe, it's no surprise that countries want to have their data stay within the country boundaries. They wouldn't want their data to be on a cloud which is in a neighboring country. We are seeing that not only in Europe, but also places in Asia. This is the concept of data sovereignty, where the countries are trying to make their data sovereign within their boundaries. Some of our customers are taking it to the next level and saying it's not only about data sovereignty, it's also about operational sovereignty, where the operators of the data center, in this case, the operators of dedicated region, they need to be citizens of the country. In the US, we are seeing a variation of that. This is more along the lines of data residency and less about data sovereignty. We are seeing certain applications which are mandated by state laws so that the data of those applications, they reside within the state boundaries. We are also seeing that in some other countries where there are many states within the country. So that leads to a use case of state-level data residency. The second big use case that we are seeing is around low latency applications. Telco sector and financial sectors is pushing that use case a lot, especially with the emergence of 5G, autonomous cars, fraud detection in the 5G world. There is a need for applications to have very low latency. Those applications will break if the input signals have to go from the edge of the network to the cloud, get it processed in the cloud, come back to the edge. That's too long of a round trip time. For those situations, they need the infrastructure to be as far away from the core, closer to the edge. Dedicated region plays a great role there by having the whole infrastructure of the cloud towards the edge of the network. The third use case is more about modernizing infrastructure and modernizing applications. This is more of a horizontal use case. The prior 2 ones were more of industry vertical use cases. Here we are seeing a broad spectrum of Fortune 500 companies who are trying to modernize their data centers. If you recall, earlier on I shared a report saying 70% of workloads are still residing on-prem. And they're residing on-prem because of data gravity reasons, regulatory compliance reasons, or just because the customer wants to control the infrastructure. Dedicated region gives a great path for those customers who are having applications in their legacy infrastructure, move to a more cloud-like modern infrastructure, and yet it resides on their premises. We have a pretty large customer in Silicon Valley with hundreds of petabytes of data, which were all residing on-prem, but they want to get away from that mode of running and managing the data center infrastructure. They want to get into a mode where somebody else manages their infrastructure and they can focus on their core business, which is the data and the insights that they're generating from the data. Dedicated region plays a great role there, where we take care of the entire infrastructure, we manage it and run it for the customers, and the customer can then focus on the data and the insights to run their own business. We started the session with a what-if question. We asked, what if we could get the best of public cloud experience with the best of on-prem data center experience? And the answer is dedicated region. Customers told us they want the agility, scalability, and the economics of public cloud. With dedicated region, we provide 100 plus of the public cloud services. They are in the infrastructure as a service category, platform as a service category, and software as a service category. And all of those are available to our customers from day one. Under scalability, we enable our customers to start small, but as their demands grow, we enable dedicated region to grow based on their workloads. On the point of economics, dedicated region allows you to buy the cloud services from us rather than trying to build it yourself. We build the entire dedicated region for you, and we manage it 24/7. Last but not the least, it is a 100% OpEx model. What that means is our customers only pay for the services they have consumed. And keep in mind, the rate card or the prices on our services are exactly the same as they are on the public cloud. With that, I'd like to thank you for your time. For more information, come to our website or contact your local Oracle rep. Thanks again.